done being the victim in 2021, okay? We're grown, we're taking accountability, we're stepping up, and we're making better decisions for ourselves. Hey y'all, thank you for stopping by to see me, Shimon, the girl next door. And if you haven't already, go ahead and tap that subscribe button and turn your post notifications on so you can stay up to date on all my videos. So today, guys, we're going to dive right into it. We're going to discuss the 5 toxic traits that no one ever talks about. So I know this is not just me. When I'm on social media and I'm scrolling on these self-care, self-help pages, that promotes positive kind of affirmations or quotes or whatever. It's just like they are continuously projecting one side, right? And it could be very well predominantly that side that causes the issues in relationships, which is I don't want to say traditional toxic traits, but the traits that we always hear about. So often we see it in a very obvious way, but no one ever talks about the toxic traits that allow or foster or kind of enables those behaviors. And I kind of want to touch on that today. And again, clearly I'm not a licensed therapist or anything like that, but it's mainly based off of my own personal experiences and experiences of other people that they've shared with me. And a lot of times with these traits that I'm going to discuss, people don't often view it as toxicity. I think it's time that we talk about those things, discussing more about what allows us to accept some of those traits that we see often in other people. Additionally, I will be trying out this kind of new, very trendy way of concealing and contouring. I saw it on TikTok, I saw it on Instagram, and so far I've seen like really good stuff on it, so I want to see if it would work for me. And if you watch it and you think it's something that you would want to try, you'll see how to do it. But yeah, so let's just get into it. Okay guys, so I went ahead and just did my brows and most of my eye look because I typically do my eyes first and then I do my face. So I wanted the video to just be focused on the new look that I saw. If you want to see how I do my brows, it's in my soft glam tutorial. So yeah, go check that out. The first toxic trait that I want to speak about is emotional dependency. I'm talking about looking to one person for any given emotion, whether that's happiness or someone to blame for sadness or loneliness. This is toxic because that's too much to bear on one person, okay? People are fallible, and which means that holding them to such a standard is unfair and it is unreasonable and not very close to reality. We have to be able to take responsibility for our own emotions, whether they're good or bad. So even if it's like predominantly, something happens and let's say it is mainly that person's fault, we got to be able to look at it and say what we could have done differently. Was there any signs or flags before it even got to that point? What could we have done to have a better outcome? We should be able to point to stuff that we are personally doing in our lives to that contribute to that particular emotion. So even if it's, let's say it's happiness, we should get into the mindset of saying, I'm happy today because I did XYZ, whether it's I cleaned my room or I got something done that I needed to get done today, or I went grocery shopping, or I meal prepped. That makes me feel happy. Finding that joy in things that you can control, which is yourself, is better overall for your relationship, not only with yourself, but with that person. That emotion shouldn't be strictly from that person. So I think taking ownership for both good and bad things happening can be can help us with a clearer path towards having a healthy relationship with other people. So the next kind of trait that I think gets swept under the rug quite a bit is giving too much too soon. Okay? We're all guilty of this, guys. Especially when we like somebody, you know? It's like we want to give them our all and we want to put everything out there right now. And it's just like, not only, again, maybe the sustainability thing, I didn't even realize that till right now. The point of sustainability is probably a good overarching theme for this whole thing, but it's not sustainable. Okay? It's not sustainable for yourself, to be giving so much so soon. Or at all, you know, even if it's with people that's been in your life for a while, it's not healthy to give a humongous part of yourself to someone else, you know? When that person is, I'm gonna go ahead and say 9 times out of 10, most instances, cannot keep up with that and cannot reciprocate that, we're left thinking that that person does not care about us. Again, I'm not saying that when you give too much of yourself, that person, you know, automatically wanted to give a lot of their self too, but they just can't. I'm not going to assume that, you know, sometimes people don't have good intentions, but just generally speaking, it's kind of hard to match it, you know? It's not much left for them to do, even if they wanted to. That's my whole point. But we want to set up parameters where, not walls up, but we want to kind of be realistic. Let's get as close to reality as we can, okay? It's not likely that somebody can match someone giving their all to something. It's hard to match that. Giving a good deal of yourself, but especially in the beginning, if you just met somebody, you should be more so focused on trying to get to know who that person is. The next kind of toxic trait that I think is somewhat covered, but not, I think it's somewhat covered, but not in this specific manner, is selfishness, okay? Traditionally, what the selfish traits that we hear lies like, you know, stepping out, cheating, or just generally making decisions that are not thinking of the other person. But sometimes it's even like a mental state that we have, which happens a lot when we're dating people, is that we have an image of what we want that person to be, and we are so engulfed in that we're not paying attention to who they really are. It's deemed as selfish because you're not paying attention to what that person naturally brings to the table. We want them to be something that they could be or they could not be. You know, we want them to be something in our lives instead of paying attention to who they are. There's nothing wrong with having an idea of what you want or you like, but you shouldn't be so attached to it that you're not getting to know the person. I think that a lot of times we want the person to be something that they're just not, you know? And sometimes it can be that they're even better than the image that you want them to be. And you're so fixated at this particular thing that you're not even noticing that. Or, you know, they're not, you know, they don't live up to this standard, whether it's, you know, realistic or not. They don't actually live up to that standard, and you need to be able to identify that and see if there's something you want to deal with or you kind of want to move on from. But regardless of whatever you decide to do with that information, we need to pay attention to who this person really is instead of who we want them to be. Okay, so like quick little note about the makeup. I like to blend very, very well. I highlight right here with the highlighter, with the powdery highlighter. And it's interesting now that I'm seeing that the trend is this particular concealer look, or concealer method, involves putting the concealer out here. So that's interesting. Okay. So my contour is not really that dark. This is kind of, yeah, my contour is not dark. Ooh. My contour is not dark because I don't like a dramatic or harsh look. So I don't go that dark with my concealer. I typically put this on, and then if I'm even contouring, I put this on, and then I go back in with like maybe a darker powder. But yeah, I don't get too dark with it. See? It's like slanted because I'm trying to like look in the camera, look in the mirror. So the next one is pointing the finger, which I kind of briefly talked about in the first point. But pointing the finger and placing blame. Now, you know, I do want to disclose again that there is some situations where people are the abuser, and people are actually being abused emotionally. In some instances where, you know, there's two people that are at the same level of being problematic and toxic, we like to play the victim and play the blame game. Okay, we have to be able to look at situations again and understand where we went wrong, even if, okay, hear me out. I'm gonna go back in with my concealer. Let's separate this out some more. Yeah, that's better. Even if it's mainly that person's fault, we need to be able to identify what we did wrong. Maybe it's from the very beginning, you know, maybe it wasn't any one particular situation that was your fault, but maybe it was the very beginning, picking a certain type of person to engage in romantically or be their friend. You know what I'm saying? We need to be able to identify the type of people and know some signals of people that we want to deal with in general. And so that could easily have been where you fell short. Being able to see where you went wrong is a level of growth. Let me tell you, it is a level of growth. Okay. I was not that person until literally like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Like being able to be the person to look at any number of situations that I was in and saying, I could have done that differently. And it's that simple, you know? It's not even like taking ownership of the entire situation or the entire relationship that you have with that person if they're not, you know, no longer, you don't really deal with them anymore. Sorry, guys, I like to go back in again just to make sure the line is good. But you got to be able to be mature enough to stop and say, hey, I was wrong about that. I'm good for that. I was wrong about that. Okay. I don't know about the whole thing, but I was wrong about that. It's that simple. A lot of times it's that my reaction to something was the problem, right? What used to happen a lot, especially when I was a teenager, is that my reaction would stop people from understanding my point of view because I would be reacting to all types of crazy. Like, if you're reacting to this like a crazy person, you know, No one is gonna see your point of view if you wilding out, acting crazy about something. It's better to find where you went wrong in a situation so that you can make a better decision. So getting out of the victim role, we done being the victim in 2021, okay? We're grown, we're taking accountability, we're stepping up, and we're making better decisions for ourselves. So I'm looking at this and I'm liking it so far, y'all. It's not heavy, it's just, looks good. Now I'm about to go into, you know, what I typically do, which is like add highlighter and such. Oh, no. How could I forget? I said I was going to go back in with the darker powder. Lastly, but not leastly, is identifying the red flags. And that might actually, now that I think about it, that might be another video in itself. You know, and the funny thing about it is that we all got our intuition. Okay? We got that gut. Everybody got that gut feeling. Everybody got that gut feeling of when you know something is fishy, right? You know something ain't right. And how you choose to deal with that can determine a lot about how your relationship with that particular person is going to go. Because if you ignoring it or you address it and there's nothing that comes of that, you know, the person keeps on doing what they doing. Again, I don't like to go ahead and say, if I think something's fishy, you know, depending on what it is, I won't say, you know, I'm going to stop dealing with that person completely because of it. But you need to be able to identify it. You need to be able to identify it and do something about it. Whether that's addressing it with the person or moving differently, actively moving differently because of it, or just depending on how bad it is, knowing to walk away from it completely. And we have to be able to identify it, A, and B, making the right decisions after identifying it. So just briefly, some red flags that I personally have experienced: how they deal with conflict. So how do they hold grudges? How long do they take to bring the issue up to you? Is it like they're exploding all at once? Like, how does this work with that person? So I like to pay attention to those things. And depending on how they react to certain stuff can easily be a red flag of something that you need to make aware. Red flag is and stop dealing with them, or making a mental note of it and proceeding forward with caution if you decide to proceed forward. So the main thing is, again, identifying the red flags. I'm sorry if y'all looking at this and you're like, girl, we can barely tell you contoured. But I just really don't like a harsh look. So I try to steer away from that as much as possible. So if you came here to my channel for dramatic, harsh, kind of over the top looks, you at the wrong place, mamas. I gear towards natural kind of, or leaning towards more natural leaning content. Going back into the makeup look, just adding some highlighters, some ers, some ahs. We love a good highlight on the cheekbone. Ooh. Cute. This is my favorite fall color. We're gonna go in with this on the lip. Hope y'all don't beat me up about lining my lip. I just like to just put them on like this. this is the finished look. And I had to go ahead and do a little something with my hair. Did a quick little wand curled on the ends. And yeah, I think I'm going to start this. This is going to be my new way of concealing and contouring whenever I want to, you know, go out, look cute. But yes, just to reiterate, to me, the toxic traits that kind of just get swept under the rug, these are just the ones that I've seen. I've had an issue with myself, again, and stuff that people have told me personally. So if you like this video, you already know what to do. Give me a thumbs up. Comment down below. What are some toxic traits that you saw firsthand or you've been dealing with to try to overcome? And yeah, let's have a discussion about it. Relationship type of videos are definitely stuff that I want to continue to do. So if you kind of comment down below and let me know what you think about it, it'll mean a lot to me. See you in the next video.